Hello, my name's Bob Willis. Welcome to Winnie TV here at Productronica, and it's been a really busy show. John, have you found the number of attendants as high as I sort of envisaged?
It's been higher for us than I would have anticipated. It's been a really good show so far for me.
And with regard to training, there has been an incredible interest in training over the last, few years. And do you find it's more focused on the practical skills or the theoretical skills?
It's a difficult one for us to quantify. We train obviously theory-based and practical-based training. I would still say that the practical training just edges it. I think for us at the moment, especially on the other side of COVID, that the industry as a whole in the UK seems to be suffering from a lack of a skilled workforce. So for us as a training centre with practical training, it's definitely taken off since we've come out of COVID.
You know, I quote obviously your organisation ART being the home of IPC training in the UK, because you've been there for an incredible long time. You've got some very, very skilled staff. And obviously I knew the original creators of ART back in the day with Marconi. Are you developing any new directions, any new training courses yourself? Obviously, you're well known for IPC training.
So yeah, we are obviously an authorised IPC training centre, but we're finding now that there's a massive amount of the industry that we teach that need training but don't necessarily need to go down the path of IPC. So although originally we have our own courses that we teach, we've been expanding them, making sure that we can give the industry as a whole the training that they need, but it doesn't have to follow the IPC path.
And is that related to, one of the things I always found difficult sometimes with training, is that a manager would say, right, there's 6 staff, I want you to train them. I always found it difficult to say, I'm sorry, 3 of those just can't cut it. Do you get in that embarrassing situation sometimes?
When I first started, I definitely had an issue where I'd feel pressure from a company to make sure that their staff had the ability to do the work or to pass certain training. I think over the years I've become far more thick-skinned, not just personally and professionally. I would not want someone to work on a product, especially a product that I personally would use or potentially go on, that I know didn't have the skill set to be able to do the job.
Yeah.
And I think at the moment within the UK and the fact that we have such a lack of skilled personnel moving into the electronics industry, it's far, far worse than it's ever been.
One other item I wanted to mention is that, do you occasionally see, let's say you've got 2 or 3 people that come to you, you actually see them again because they've moved company?
The electronics industry is entwined, and you'll always find that people disappear. They might disappear for a week, a month, sometimes even years, but they always turn up somewhere else. There's a massive overlap. We have training that recurs. For IPC training to recertify, you have to do it every 2 years. So we get people that come back on a recurring basis, but you will always find the same faces pop up, at different companies at different times.
And one other thing is, obviously you're doing training, you're doing it to IPC, but you have to keep up to date with technology yourself. And if you're that busy, that must be difficult sometimes.
I've just had this conversation and I try to explain to people, you can't do this job unless you've got the geek in you. I am inherently a geek. I like to know how things work. As a child, I took things apart, didn't always manage to put them back together again, but I wanted to know how things work. And I think if you've got that in you, if you're intrigued and you want to find out how things work, then the electronics industry is a really good place to go into. You learn the background, you understand the technologies. And for me, I'm getting older, and I do now get to a point where I suddenly feel like my parents, in that I look at my phone and wonder how to use it. But I try to keep up as much as possible with current trends. current technologies. Obviously, I like to use the most cutting edge equipment as possible. And coming to a show like Productronica, you're spoiled for choice. You find anything that you want, and it's always the most up-to-date equipment.
And I have the opportunity of working at ART in the not too distant future.
So again, I'm looking forward to that. I mean, you don't know, but I started at ART 15 years ago now, and my first experience of going to a trade show was at Reading. And the first thing that I did at a trade show was sit down and listen to a seminar that you that talked about counterfeit components. And it was really my first introduction into trade shows and my first introduction to you, really. But you can't work within the realms of with any kind of electronics training or go to any company that hasn't heard of Bob Willis in some way. So yeah, for me, it's kind of full circle in that, yeah, we're welcoming you to ART to actually do a seminar on low temperature soldering. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it as well. I mean, hopefully we'll have some fun. Hopefully we'll have some delegates that are really interested in the subject. And because we're the first to run something like this, hopefully it's going to be successful. Thank you very much for coming along to Winnie TV, and
thanks for the time.
And hopefully the show continues to be as good as you've already indicated it has been.
Excellent. Thank you very much.